So you've always wanted to learn guitar but thought it was too hard. Well, don't fret. The toy has you covered from the body to the bridge. It's time for Toy Teaches Guitar.
Hopefully everybody's been practicing and you have been using your major and minor scales to get your fingers loose and start to learn the notes on the fretboard. We've been starting all of our lessons here on the 3rd fret on the 6th string, which is the G note. And today we are going to go over our translation, if you will, of what all of that means and how we turn that into chords and then chord progressions and ultimately songs. So let's quickly review the major scale starting on the 3rd fret in G. Again, there's 2 ways. We're just going to do the first half of the scale here. So it's G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and back to our octave at G. And again, there's a second way to play that, that it helps us get a little further up the note, stretches out your fingers a little bit more. And that's G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. Back to that same octave. Okay, so some things I need to put on are some of my instruction sheets so that you can see this, but there's a pattern that is determined, again, by the musical gods as to what each one of those notes means. So we'll count those out real quickly. So our starting at that 3rd fret, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 notes are in that scale are going to be our G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. So those 8 notes will work together ultimately to create a chord progression or a chord pattern. Now the major scale has a predetermined pattern in which it's supposed to work. The first note in the major scale is going to be a major chord. So these are things that I have written down, but it's going to be a major chord on our first one. So if we've done our bar chords, we know our major chord is going to be this shape here with our finger barred all the way across. So our G is going to be a major chord, our first note being a major. So our major chord. Our second note in the major scale is going to be a minor chord. Well, that is going to be the A in this case. So with a minor, again, we play our major shape. We just remove our middle finger, create that tension. So this is our A minor in this case. The third note is also going to be a minor, so we'll slide up a whole step, in this case to B, with a minor chord. So our first 3, major, minor, minor. 1, 2, and 3 are major, minor, minor, major, minor, minor. Now we can continue to play all the way up. The 6th string is our root note, or we can move down to the 3rd string and keep it in a little bit more convenient location, if you will, on the neck. And we will move up now to our 4th note, which is our C, and the scale, on the G major scale, which is also going to be a major chord. So our major bar chord is going to be these 3 are barred, as well as the first finger. You end up with this major. So we will have our 4th being a major, so major, minor, minor. Number 4 is going to be a major. And then the 5th one is going to be a major as well, so we're going to slide up a whole step here to our E major in this case. Now our 6th note in this case is going to be our, pardon me, that's our D. Our 6th note in this case is going to be E, which is going to be a minor. So what we do is we flatten that 6th, which is going to move our note from here to create that tension from the major to the minor. So now we're at our 6th note. So we have gone G, A, B, C, D, E. We've gone major, minor, minor, major, major, minor. So we've kind of swapped that up a little bit. Now our 7th note in the major scale is a diminished chord. Now a diminished chord creates a lot of tension. It's kind of an off-sounding chord when we put it together. It's an interesting shape as well. So to show you that, it is going to be, I'm going to be doing it on this scale. So we're going to do it on the 9th fret of the 5th string, which is going to be our F sharp note, which is the octave of that one there, which is the same as that one there. So depending on where we are on the neck, we can play the same note. So we have our F sharp here, and now we're going to put our index, or we're going to use our second finger on that 9th fret. Now we're going to use our index finger on the 3rd string on the 8th fret. You can already tell it's going to be a little bit wonky sounding. Now we're going to put our ring finger on the 4th string, 10th fret, and we're going to mimic that on the 2nd string with our pinky on the 2nd string, and we're going to leave the E string at the bottom of our 1st string open. And this is that diminished chord. You hear it's got that tension. This is our 7th note. Now, generally in most songs, you won't see many diminished unless you get into jazz or jazz fusion or whatever type of thing you're into. But it's not really a common chord used in rock and roll or folk or any of the more popular type music. It does create a nice bit of tension, because what it does is it allows us to resolve that tension, repeating in our octave. Well, if our first note, our G, is going to be a major, well, then our 8th, the octave being the same note, is also going to be a major. So we're going to slide up here to the 10th fret on our 5th string, and we bar that one for our major chord. So to review quickly, our major scale, again, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and E, or we could slide it up here to G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. Once again, those same notes. Major, minor, minor, major, minor, minor. We will repeat at 4, major, minor. There's our E minor. Again, if you noticed, I changed and I just stayed on the 6th string this time. That is the same E minor that you will hear right here. Pardon me. With a little added note for the tension there. So you will see, and we'll get into it later, that different chords played in different or the same chord played in different positions will create some different sounds for you. But it's the same notes as it is right there. So major, minor, minor, major, major, minor. Now here's our wonky diminished sound. And you hear it resolve. So that's how you apply your major scale to a chord progression, or to what the chords are. Now that progression, now you can put truly any of those together in a pattern. You can say we're going to do a 3-chord pattern. Now one of the most common ones, and you'll hear on my intro as well, is a 1-4-5, and that's where we take the first note, the 4th note, and the 5th note, and we put those in some sort of strumming pattern in the chords, and we put them together to create a song. So one of the most common chord progressions you will ever hear in all of music is a G, C, and D. That's a 1-4-5 progression, and those, in this case, we're using the major scale, are all major chords. So we will go ahead and start that off. So we'll have our G major, and we can go ahead and strum it. Now we can move to our C, our 4th note, and now we'll move to D, which is a major, and our 5th, and then back to our 1. So you'll hear country songs, pop songs, rock songs. It's a very common and it's a very warm kind of feel. And it's just putting these chords together. Now if I wanted to create a bridge, which is a change in the feel, maybe a change in the chord progression, I've gone to a 1 and a 4-6, or pardon me, a 5-6. And here's a 5, 6. And I can bring that back down to the 1. Back to the 4, 5. Let's change it up and let's go down to the 4. You hear just that, all of those things working together creates a different feel with whatever pattern you want to put together. Because as the scale is built together, the chords again will follow together. So I ended that one on a 6, 3, 2 back to a 1. And it's all in that same scale, and all those chords will work together. Notice I stayed away from the diminished because not only is it a little more difficult to fret, it just kind of wouldn't feel appropriate in that kind of strumming pattern and that kind of song progression or chord progression. So hopefully this one makes a little more sense to you, and you can see why we're putting all these things together and what those scales are actually for. They're not just tedious little exercises so you can, wiggle your fingers fast. Thank you very much. We'll see you.